Well, I have been having some issues with losing coolant in my tank, radiator, top tank, and there is the problem. I have a hairline crack. So, darn it. You can see the coolant coming back out into the crack. So, I guess I am going to have to buy a new radiator, $200, something like that. Anyway, yeah, see, the whole crack line is already wet again. That is my temporary fix. For the radiator. And what I have is high temperature RTV black silicone gasket maker there. And then over the crack in the top of the radiator tank, I sanded it, cleaned it out real well, and then I rubbed the RTV into the crack and around the area, and then I took a strip of fiberglass mesh tape, not wallboard tape, but a fiberglassing tape, and worked that into the RTV and then put RTV over it, so there is a solid strip of polyester fiber embedded in the RTV over the crack. So hopefully that will work as a seal until I get a new radiator. And all I'm trying to do is prevent the leaking that was coming from this location, and I can still leave the top loose on the radiator cap, and that way no pressure will build up. And right now the tank level is about an inch low, but it is still higher than the heads and the heater core. So we have full engine cooling, and so yeah, when we get back, then I will put on a new radiator. Okay, kiddos, I am going to be removing the old cracked radiator from my 2000 F250 and replacing it with a new aluminum higher cooling rate radiator. So you can see right here is where the problem is. If I can get my light over here. Oh, come on, really? There. Alright. So there is the problem. We have, I do a lot of camping up in the mountains on rough roads, and so what happens is the hose shakes up and down and around and puts stress on the plastic tank. So a plastic tank radiator is probably fine for around town, but when you get into rough areas, you need something a little tougher. So anyway, we are going to disconnect the hose here, disconnect the hose from the reservoir tank at the bottom of the radiator, and disconnect the two transmission cooling lines that go in the radiator, and then there's also another hose, the bottom hose on the radiator. So let's take a quick look at that. Get my light over here. just a second. Okay, so this is what we have here is you can see we might even have other issues with the radiator. It's been leaking over here too. Makes me wonder if this bottom tank is cracked also. I never really checked that. But, so that's what we're going to do is disconnect these things. So over here is a petcock to release water from the system. So let us go and crack that open and begin draining. And that's like if there's anything even in here left to drain. Okay. So I do have all new radiator hoses under here, all new coolant lines. Okay, so there. Now we're just going to let the system drain out, and then we'll come back here and move the stupid light. Okay, so we have the two transmission lines to remove here, and over here we have to remove this hose and this hose. Then we have to disconnect everything on top of the radiator, all the stuff that is holding it together. So let's go back upstairs and take a look at that. This will take a couple of minutes for all the coolant to drain out. Okay, so we have to take out these here two bolts there and a bolt here that will get the reservoir off, and disconnect these two clamps here, and this hose here is on the radiator. Then we have to disconnect 1, 2. I think there's another bolt under here and a couple of bolts there. So it's actually fairly simple to remove this thing. Okay, and this is what we're going to replace it with. This here gorgeous hunk of aluminum. So you see it has an aluminum top and bottom tank. Then it has an 1.5-inch core on it. It's a single core, but it has much more cooling capacity. This radiator is a 1-inch core, and so when I get that out, I will show you the difference in core size. But so anyway, this thing here has maybe about between 25 and 50% more cooling capacity because of the larger core. And they didn't really have one for the 5.4 liter. Technically, I guess this is for the V10 engine, and so it needs a little larger cooling capacity than my engine does. Okay, so let's round up some tools and get going. Okay, now we're recording. So we just used the screw gun here to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and the screw here being a short one. Okay, and this is your jack assembly. Okay, so these here pop onto the top of the radiator. Okay, so save these rubber grommets. Make sure you have those. This one came off all right. Okay, so let's get a plier and yank the hose clamp off there. Okay, that's going to come off easily. Okay, that's good. Alright, now we got to pull these two screws down here off. Here goes the other one. Okay. Now, I think that we can just put this out of the way. And then we have two screws on the back of the shroud. One here, one here. Okay, one screw here, one screw there. Make sure it's in reverse. Okay. Some of these screws that are different separate. Remember, the short screw goes on the tank and the long screws are here. Alright, let's pull the clamp here. And as I said, these are all new hoses, only a year or so, well, maybe 2 years old from when I put on the new engine. Okay, so I think we're just about ready to pull this up. Just got to undo the hoses at the bottom and the transmission lines. Oh, good. Alright, let's yank these. Oh, it's loose on the tank. Are you kidding me? It's always something. Good gravy. It's always something. Alright, let's see if we can get it now. Come on. There we go. I hope that was it. Okay, good. I can tighten me back up on the tank so that it's not going to leak on me. Okay, now I can undo that. Okay, maybe I'll undo this one here first since it's not blowing on me yet. Alright, let's try that. All I ask is another 15 minutes of dry weather. That's all I ask. Let's see if I can get this over here to kind of hold my leak guard on. Come on, let's go. Okay. Let's hope that'll work for a few minutes is all we need. That's all I ask. Okay. Well, that worked about 1 minute. Where's my wrench? Your wrench. Where the stupid wrench goes at? That's not it. That's not it either, I don't think. Oh, crap. There we go. It's not really the lines that are leaking, it's the tank that's leaking. Alright, let's see if I can stick something in there to plug it a little bit. back there a little bit. And work this one back a little bit. And again, these are all new hoses, only a couple years old. Technically, they say to, if you're going to do this, change your antifreeze fluid. But I'm not going to do that because I have added to this. Okay. Try and get the big one off of there too. Should have yanked the big one first, darn it. That's all right. Okay. Okay, so we are ready to come up. All I have to do is pull the shroud up and out of these locating brackets for it. So let me run up there and pull that real quick. And I think that you're able to see that. I don't know. So these are the locators right here. There's one on this side, one on that side. Let me pull the shroud up and we should be able to see it pop out of there. Alright, so you can see the radiator here, and this should come up pretty quick and easy. Alright, so let me pull this on out of there and we'll set the new one down. two rubber locating grommets are in down there. It's probably too dark to see them. You can probably see this one here. It's got light on it. Okay. So here's the old one. You can see it's just a single core, and you know, this may actually only be like a 3/4 incher. See, here's the hole here and there, and that's the radiator. So it is, yeah, barely an inch. And this here is 1.5 inches. So this is definitely a better radiator. Much tougher too, being aluminum. All right, so let's get on it. We need to drop this down into the radiator compartment. So let's go back downstairs here and see what is going on. Let's see if we can beat the rain. All right. So we need to get the radiator down into these holes. There's that one, and let's get this one over here. Okay, good, we're in. Now I can pull the plug here, hopefully. And stick this in over here so we can get the okay, so that, let's get the shroud into its position. Come on, truck, get in there. Okay, it's just got something holding it there. All right, now we can get this hose on here. And where's the other one? Damn it. Okay, get that hose on there. Let's put the clamps back where they belong. one. I can loosen that up another one. Okay. Okay, let's put this here one on. Make sure we get the cap out. Cap out, pull off this cover, get that up there. Map from over there. Oh, you're not seriously a different size. So, things are going back together quickly. We put the screws for the top bracket of the radiator in here. Remember, we have the short screw that goes for the tank over here. Screws for down below and the one screw that goes here in the middle bracket. Okay. Better angle. Okay, there we go. All right, let's start tightening the top of the radiator in gently. Okay, that is all the screws for the radiator. Push the plastic shroud thing down. All the buttons on that. Okay, that is back to where it belongs. So basically now we're all set, except we need to swap out the I don't know why, but this stupid thing shut off again. Alright, so the tank is refastened. The hose here is clamped in, that hose is clamped, top hose is clamped. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that hold the top mount of the radiator in place, and then there are the grommets, rubber grommets that are under there. Alright, so we are done up here. Now we need to go back downstairs there. Okay, so as you know, I've been having some trouble getting this radiator to work, and this here tip on Ford fittings, it has this 1/4 of an inch smooth end on it, and the problem is that at that end is just enough that it interferes with the threads going into the new fitting. So it fits into the old fitting fine, but the new fitting, it's too darn tight. So I have sanded off the fitting here, and that twist was already there, so I know that I'm getting fluid going through it anyway. But so I sanded the end of the fitting there, and it goes in, it's a tight fit, but I have it seated in all the way, and it's seated into the reservoir, the heat exchanger in the radiator. So I've got the fitting here back on with the shims on it, and this one over here I didn't have to touch, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm not sure what those marks are, and you know, there's marks on this one too, but they don't line up anymore. Probably a torque spec, I don't know. But yeah, that's on snug, so, and it's not really a tight fit. What it is it has an O-ring in it, and so the O-ring, I presume, is what is doing the sealing. All right, so anyway, that's the ticket. You get yourself some sandpaper, and you have 2 hands, and you sand off this here area just right there, and that took off just enough material that now it will go into the fitting. All right, so I'm using the phone. I don't have a tripod, so anyway, you can see it worked over here, and it will work over there too. That's how I resolved the fit issue on the performance radiator, aluminum radiator, Ford transmission cooling line fit issue. All right, so the existing fittings they sent with the radiator will work, but you have to sand off that end on the flare fitting to make it work. You have to sand that off to get it to go into the fitting, and then once it slides in there, you can get onto the threads, and then you can tighten it in with the threads. All right, okay, so that is it. I am going to finish this job up. I gotta connect that and then run and get some coolant and transmission fluid, because I lost 2 or 3 quarts in here dripping out overnight. All right, okay. All right, you can see the level in the reservoir is up there, high, max, and the hoses are all tight. They have pressure. So that's a good deal. Looking down onto the intake manifold, there is no sign of water in there, which is good because there's a pipe that comes up there, and yeah, in fact, I think that's the pipe right there. That is a cold water return pipe from the heater, and that goes directly into the back of the water pump. So anyway, that is not showing any sign of water under it. You see under it there, it's all dry and rusty. So, all right, that's good. And the radiator is looking nice. You can see that 1.5-inch core there. And everything went together very nicely. It's looking really good. Now let's take a look at what's going on underneath here. See if there's any sign of leakage from the automatic transmission connections. And no sign. Dry as a bell. Excellent. And everything is looking good. No leaks anywhere. Okay. So now I just gotta clean up my mess. So cool. Okay. So that completes swapping out the radiator and figuring out how to get that those fittings to fit into the connection in the radiator, and I got that to work by sanding them down, and sanding them rough, medium, smooth, and then fine. Okay, all right. That concludes changing your radiator and overcoming obstacles. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to get more how to fix your truck, remodel your house, and travel videos. All right, take care.